Have you ever told yourself something like, I'm just not a math person? Or I don't have a creative bone in my body? Maybe I could never do public speaking. That's just not who I am.
I mean, I've definitely said some version of that before.
Most of us have. And here's the thing, when you say that it feels true, it feels like you're just being honest about your limitations. But what if that very belief is the one thing actually holding you back?
Hold on, you're saying I'm just being realistic moments are actually what, sabotaging me?
That's exactly what we're exploring today. Welcome to Mind Decoded. I'm Dr. Ann.
And I'm Zach. Dr. Ann, what are we unpacking?
Today we're talking about one of the most influential ideas in modern psychology, the growth mindset and its counterpart, the fixed mindset. This isn't just self-help language you see on posters. This is decades of peer-reviewed research by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, and the findings are genuinely eye-opening. The way you think about your own abilities, whether you see them as fixed traits or as qualities you can develop, that one core belief affects your motivation, your resilience, how you handle failure, and honestly, how far you go in life.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand the basic idea. Fixed mindset means you believe your intelligence and talents are just set from birth. Like you've got what you've got, and that's it.
Exactly. People with a fixed mindset believe their basic qualities, intelligence, personality, creativity, are carved in stone. Every situation becomes a test of how much you have. Success means you proved you're smart. Failure means you proved you're not. So you avoid challenges, you give up easily when things get hard, and you feel threatened by other people's success because it reflects badly on you.
And growth mindset is the opposite. You believe you can develop your abilities through effort, learning, and practice.
Right. A growth mindset means you see challenges as opportunities to grow. Effort is the path to mastery, not a sign of weakness. When you fail, you learn from it instead of being defined by it. And other people's success, that's inspiration and information.
Okay, so the growth mindset person sounds like they're having a much better time. But here's my honest reaction. Isn't this just positive thinking? Like if I just believe I can get better at math, suddenly I'm a mathematician?
That's actually the most common objection, and it's an important one. No, it's not just believing in yourself. Dweck's research makes a very careful distinction. A growth mindset isn't about saying you can be anything or that everything is equally easy for everyone. It's about understanding that abilities can be developed, and the science behind why that's true is really exciting.
Okay, you've got me. Give me the science.
Let me take you back to the 1970s and 80s. Carol Dweck was studying how children respond to failure. She gave kids puzzles that started easy and got harder. And she noticed something striking. Some kids, when the puzzles got too hard, basically fell apart. They said things like, I'm not smart enough for this, or I give up. These kids were showing what Dweck would later call a fixed mindset. But other kids did something completely different. When the puzzles got hard, they didn't see it as failure. They saw it as interesting. They said things like, I love a challenge, or this is getting harder, I'm gonna have to try a different strategy.
Wait, some kids actually said, I love a challenge when things got hard?
Yes. And this became the seed of her entire theory. She realized that the key wasn't their ability level, it was their interpretation of what difficulty meant. To one kid, difficulty means I'm not good enough. To the other kid, difficulty means I need to try a different approach.
That's fascinating. And also a little uncomfortable because I recognize myself in the first group.
That's exactly why this research is so powerful. Most of us can see ourselves in both responses at different times, but the real question is, does your underlying belief about intelligence actually shape those responses? So Dweck designed a series of experiments to test this directly.
What did she find?
One of the most famous studies involved hundreds of adolescents. Dweck's team gave all the students a lesson about the brain, specifically that the brain is like a muscle that grows stronger with use, and that every time you struggle through a challenging problem, your neurons are forming new connections. That's brain plasticity, the science showing your brain physically changes when you learn.
So they taught them actual neuroscience.
Exactly. Then they followed these students through a challenging semester. And here's what happened. The group that learned about brain growth showed a clear upward trend in their math grades. The control group, who didn't get the lesson, showed a decline. Just teaching students that their intelligence could develop and explaining the science behind it measurably improved their academic performance.
So you're telling me that a few lessons about how the brain works can literally change someone's grades?
That's exactly what the research shows. But it gets even more interesting. Dweck also looked at what happens in the brain itself when people with different mindsets encounter mistakes. She did brain imaging studies with people wearing Ichi caps while they answered difficult questions. The fixed mindset participants, when they got an answer wrong, showed almost no brain activity related to learning from the mistake. Their brains were basically saying, "I got it wrong, I'm bad at this, let's move on." But the growth mindset participants, their brains lit up. They showed significant activity in the regions associated with processing error information and learning.
Their brains literally processed mistakes differently.
Yes, the fixed mindset brain treats mistakes as evidence of inadequacy and shuts down. The growth mindset brain treats mistakes as information, data to learn from. Same mistake, completely different neural response.
That's honestly mind-blowing. So when I avoid challenges or feel ashamed about getting something wrong, my brain is actually reinforcing a pattern that prevents me from learning?
Exactly. And here's the part that gets me. Most people assume that their response to difficulty is just their personality. "I'm not a risk taker, I'm just careful, I don't like looking stupid." But Dweck's research shows that these responses are driven by a belief that can change, and when it changes, the behavior changes too.
Okay, so give me a concrete example. Like in real life, not in a lab with a puzzle.
Think about the last time you tried to learn something new as an adult. Maybe it was a language or an instrument or a new software tool at work. Remember those first few weeks when you were terrible at it?
Oh, I'm having flashbacks to trying to learn guitar. I was so bad. I remember my fingers hurting. I couldn't make the chords sound right. And I just thought, I'm not musical. I should just stop.
And that is a classic fixed mindset response. You encountered difficulty and your brain interpreted it as, "I don't have this quality." But think about what a growth mindset response would have sounded like, even if the experience was exactly the same.
Probably something like, my fingers hurt, and I'm bad at this. But I just started. Everyone starts here. If I keep practicing, my brain and my fingers will literally wire themselves to get better at this.
That's right. And the truth is, that second response is actually more accurate. Neuroscience confirms that your brain does physically change with practice. When you learn guitar, the motor cortex regions that control your fingers actually grow. That's real measurable brain change. So the growth mindset person isn't just being optimistic, they're aligned with how the brain actually works.
So the fixed mindset person isn't just being pessimistic, they're being inaccurate about reality.
Yes. Fixed mindset isn't just less helpful, it's wrong about how human potential actually functions. And that's kind of liberating to realize, right? Your belief that you just can't do math or aren't creative isn't a truth you have to accept. It's a story you've been telling yourself.
Okay, but here's the uncomfortable question I have to ask. What about people who genuinely struggle with something? Like I tried learning piano for a year and I still wasn't great. At what point does "I just need to try harder" become toxic positivity?
That is the most important question you could ask. And Dweck addresses this directly. A growth mindset does not mean you can become a concert pianist if you have no aptitude and no interest. It doesn't mean everything is equally accessible to everyone. What it means is that your potential is unknown. You cannot predict what you can achieve through effort and learning. The research shows that the people who achieve the most in any field are rarely the ones who showed early talent. They're the ones who kept learning, kept practicing, and kept adapting their strategies.
So it's not about forcing yourself to believe you can be anything. It's about staying open to the possibility that you can develop in ways you don't yet know.
That's exactly it. The growth mindset is a stance of curiosity about your own potential. Instead of "I'm bad at this, so I'll stop," it's "I'm not good at this yet. What can I learn from that? What approach hasn't I tried?"
I love that word "yet." That one word changes everything.
That's actually the title of one of Dweck's books, The Power of Yet. And this is where the episode's insight becomes really practical. How do you actually shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? Because it's not about reading a book and suddenly changing your beliefs. It's a practice.
Give me a real strategy I can use today.
The first step is catching the fixed mindset voice in your head. That voice that says, I can't do this, I'm going to look stupid, if I try and fail, everyone will know I'm not good at this. Just notice it, don't judge it. It's there because it's trying to protect you from failure. It's just using an outdated strategy.
So the first step is just noticing, oh, there's my fixed mindset talking.
And the second step is talking back with a growth mindset perspective, not fake positivity, but genuine reframing. The fixed mindset says, I'm not good at this. The growth mindset says, I'm not good at this yet. What am I missing? The fixed mindset says, this is too hard. The growth mindset says, hard means my brain is growing. The fixed mindset says, I made a mistake. I'm such a failure. The growth mindset says, mistakes are how I learn. What can I take from this?
Okay, I'm going to try this. Actually, let me do it right now. I'm about to record another podcast episode that involves a topic I know nothing about. My fixed mindset is already whispering, you're going to sound like an idiot.
And what does the growth mindset say back?
You're going to sound like an idiot. And that's exactly how learning sounds. Every expert started out sounding like an idiot.
Yes. And then you'll study, you'll prepare, you'll do the episode, and you'll be better next time. That's the growth cycle.
I already feel a little better. But here's my next question. Can someone have a growth mindset in some areas and a fixed mindset in others?
Absolutely. In fact, that's true for most people. You might have a growth mindset about learning a new sport. I'll get better with practice. But a fixed mindset about public speaking. I'm just not a natural speaker. We all have pockets of fixed mindset thinking. The goal isn't to be perfectly growth-minded in everything. The goal is to notice when you're in a fixed mindset and gently choose a different perspective.
That actually makes this feel more achievable. I don't have to completely rewire my entire brain. I just have to start noticing one area.
That's exactly the right approach. And here's one more thing that might surprise you. Dweck's research shows that praising children for their intelligence, you're so smart, can actually create a fixed mindset. When kids are praised for being smart, they start avoiding challenges that might make them look less smart. But praising effort, I love how you kept trying different strategies. That cultivates a growth mindset.
Wait, so saying you're so smart to a child can backfire?
Yes. Dweck did a series of experiments where children were given a moderately easy puzzle. After they solved it, the researchers praised one group for intelligence. You must be really smart, and the other group for effort. You must have worked hard. Then they offered the children a choice between a harder puzzle they could learn from or an easy puzzle they'd already mastered. The kids praised for intelligence overwhelmingly chose the easy puzzle they didn't want to risk looking less smart. The kids praised for effort overwhelmingly chose the harder puzzle they wanted to learn.
I've been telling my niece she's so smart for years.
And it came from such a loving place. But now you know, and you can shift to praising her effort and strategy instead. That's the growth mindset in action. You can change your approach.
Okay, so let me check if I really understand this concept. The core insight is that believing your abilities can grow is not just positive thinking. It's actually more scientifically accurate. It changes how your brain processes mistakes, and it leads to better outcomes. And shifting from fixed to growth mindset is a practice of noticing your fixed thoughts and choosing a different perspective.
You nailed it. And here's the final piece. Dweck's research is not just about school performance or career success. It's about how you relate to yourself. People with a growth mindset are more likely to persevere through difficulties, ask for help, take constructive feedback, and maintain a sense of possibility in their lives. They're not defined by their failures because they see failure as information.
That's honestly beautiful. So the takeaway for today, the thing I can actually do after this episode, is to notice when I say I can't or I'm not and add the word yet.
Yes, and ask yourself a question. What would I try if I believed I could grow? Then try it.
If you want more psychology that actually helps you understand yourself, Hit that subscribe button. New episodes every day, and trust me, your brain will thank you.
See you next time on Mind Decoded.
And remember, you're not done growing. Not yet.